infected.
For real?
There is no army. There's no government, no hospitals, no police. It's all gone.
For real?
No phones, no computers. As far as we can see, at least half the population's been wiped out. Probably more.
For real?
So is this like a disease?
Yeah, and we're all infected.
Hey, Walking Dead fans, welcome back to the channel. It's been a crazy year, this 2020. You know, last year, and I'll be honest, it's not funny. It's not something to laugh at. But last year, AMC and The Walking Dead said that 2020 would be the biggest year of The Walking Dead ever. There would be so many Sundays, so many things going on. We'd have Fear the Walking Dead, we'd have The Walking Dead, we'd have World Beyond, possibly even a Rick Grimes movie, possibly even some type of other spinoff, 1 hour special, something, short series, something going on, some announcements, lots of stuff happening. But of course, there are lots of stuff happening, and especially right now. It just turned June 2020, and the world is crazy. The world is crazy. And I did a video last year talking about all the stuff that we were going to have The Walking Dead related this year, and I called it 2020, the year of the dead. Now, like I said, it's not funny, but 2020 has become the year of the dead. Well over 100,000 people has died from the virus in America alone. The world is just crazy, and with the black and white cops back and forth, all of this going on in the world, human nature is really a big thing that we're fighting here, and it's so hard to fight human nature. But we're also fighting nature in itself with the virus, a novel virus that's really kicking our butt in a lot of places. So maybe we're not all infected, you know, as Rick says in the show, we are all infected. Maybe we're not all infected with the coronavirus, but we are all infected with human nature. And sometimes that human nature comes out. Sometimes the personality that we thought a person was or isn't in different situations. And I think that's a big draw to a story like The Walking Dead that puts people in these situations that sometimes they may have to do things they never thought they would. Kill things, kill people, sacrifice themselves. All kinds of crazy things. Of course, we're not anywhere near the Walking Dead world in 2020, but man, you almost couldn't really come closer to it, right? It's just been a crazy year, and so I definitely just wanted to give a shout out to the world. Love is definitely the answer to everything, but a vaccine for the coronavirus would be really nice also. But this video is about we are all infected. You know, Rick said it after they left the CDC. Jenner let him know about it. He didn't tell the group until they were out on the highway after the farm. And in the comic, Rick finds out, or the group, especially Rick, finds out that you don't have to be bitten to reanimate as the undead. And it's a pretty big shock to Rick when he learned from Jenner in the show, and Rick and the others when they learned in the comic. So I'll let you guys know how Rick finds out in the show and how they find out in the comic. So in the show, at the CDC, before they leave, Jenner pulls Rick to him and says, hey, we're all infected. You don't have to get bitten, no matter what, how you die, except by brain damage. You come back as one of those. We are all infected. So Rick finds this out at the CDC, but he doesn't tell the group until later. But of course, they're at the farm before he tells the group, and he doesn't know for sure what Jenner said until Shane. Rick stabs Shane in the chest, killing him, and then Shane reanimates. Shane had not been bitten, so Rick then knew what Jenner said was true.
He turned. That's how I knew Jenner
Jenner was right.
So after the farm, after the Walker horde comes through the farm, the group gets away, they're out on the highway, and then Daryl tells them about Randall.
You know, I found Randall, right? You turned, but he wasn't bit.
How's that possible?
So Daryl was confused about that. At the time, he thought also you had to get bitten to come back. That's the only way they saw people come back, is once they were bitten. It's up to a certain point, and really pretty much throughout the show you find people in the beginning, they run into people, we see people on the show that haven't figured that out yet. But after Daryl says that, that's when Rick tells them.
We're all infected.
But in the comic, it was way different. And even though we had some of the same characters, things kind of played out a little bit different. For example, Tyrese had a daughter, and she had a boyfriend. It was Julie, his daughter, and Chris, the boyfriend. And Tyrese came upon Dale's RV in the comic way sooner than how they ended up there at the prison where Tyrese was introduced. But the thing is, Tyrese, his daughter, and her boyfriend, they end up at the prison. And the daughter and boyfriend, they keep like trying to have sex and talking about they're going to be together forever and just crazy things. They get guns at the farm and practice shooting, and they're saying, oh, it's going to be so much easier now. And for a little bit while reading, you might have thought they're going to take out Tyrese because Tyrese don't want them to have sex and is always getting on to them. So that's what they mean. But actually they meant a suicide pact. They were going to have sex for the first time and then kill each other. Hold the guns to each other's chest and pull the trigger at the same time. So Julie and Chris are always put to task of babysitting, and they're always trying to fool around. But finally, after they clear the prison, everybody's so tired they go to sleep. Julie and Chris finally get to go off and have sex for the first time. And yes, they try the suicide pact. But Chris pulls the trigger first and kills Julie. So he's just like freaking out. And by the time Tyrese and Rick gets there, Julie's laying there and Tyrese is holding her lifeless body, you know, screaming at Chris, and Chris is telling him kind of what happened. But then Julie reanimates fairly quickly, mind you. So the thing is, they don't know that you don't have to be bitten to turn. So when Julie turns, Tyrese is trying to talk to her, reason with her. She doesn't seem to recognize anybody and then attacks Tyrese. Tyrese is holding her back at the same time holding Rick back from killing her, but he forgets Chris is over there with a gun as well, and Chris shoots her in the head and kills her reanimated state. Tyrese is definitely then furious because Chris has just killed his daughter twice. So Tyrese goes and strangles Chris to death. Chris also reanimates, and Tyrese kills him twice as well. He tells Rick later that after Chris reanimated and Tyrese just mutilates the zombie body of Chris, he tells Rick, I think later, that he enjoyed it. He killed him twice and he enjoyed it just as much the second time. But without going into any more detail about it all, that's pretty much it in a nutshell, how Rick in the show finds out because of Dr. Jenner telling him initially, then Shane proves it. In the comic, they learn at the prison. The whole group kind of learns the same night when Julie reanimates after a failed suicide pact. So it's they learn in different ways. And in the comic, I'll tell you a little thing. Rick, after he realizes this, he's like, because Rick kills Shane in the comic, but he buries him before he reanimates, so he didn't know. So he goes back, all the way back to Shane's grave, and digs him up to see, and sure enough, there's Shane as a zombie. So Rick's like, yep, sure enough, you don't have to be bitten to turn into one of these things. And he kills Shane the second time, and as he walks off from the grave, he says, I'm not going to bury you a second time. But definitely some cool information, some cool stuff in the comics. If you haven't read the comics, I highly recommend them if you're a show fan. On this delay, while waiting on some Walking Dead, and it'd be great if you went and bought the comics, but you can find them online for free, I think, if you Google it or search for it. But hopefully we will get the finale for season 10 soon, and the rest of the show started back very soon. I do think we will. This is James in Nashville, USA. It's a crazy world out there, like I say, but you guys just stay safe, keep your head straight. Anything you want to discuss about the video, throw it in the comments below and I will join you there. As always, guys, thanks for watching and stay tuned for more dead stuff.